put a combination lock on my snack drawer at work. So I work in an open office and everybody shares one kitchen. I've got my own desk drawer, bottom left, and about 2 months ago I started keeping snacks in it. Nothing crazy, protein bars, those little pretzel bags, some fancy dark chocolate my sister sends me, and this expensive trail mix I buy because I've got a nut thing and most brands cross-contaminate. It adds up. I probably spend like $40 a month on it. I noticed stuff going missing around week 3. First it was small. A granola bar here, a pretzel bag there. I figured I miscounted. Then I bought a fresh box of 12 protein bars on a Monday, and by Thursday there were 4 left. I asked around. Nicely, I said, hey, has anyone been grabbing snacks out of my drawer? Totally fine, just let me know so I can restock. Everybody said no. My coworker Dana, who sits closest to me, said, maybe it's the cleaning crew. It was not the cleaning crew. Because that Friday I came in early, like 7 a.m., and Dana was already at my desk with the drawer open, halfway through one of my chocolate bars. She saw me and didn't even flinch. She just said, oh, I owe you one of these. She's owed me one of these for 2 months. I said, Dana, that's the 3rd bar this week. She laughed and said, you're keeping count? It's a chocolate bar. Like I was the weird one. Like the person tracking her own food was the problem. So I let it go that day. But I started actually paying attention, and it wasn't just Dana. It was a whole rotating cast. I'd catch people leaning over my desk when I got back from the bathroom. One guy, Marcus, straight up asked me, you got any more of that trail mix? The one with the cranberries. I said, Marcus, how do you know what's in my trail mix? He got quiet. The trail mix is the one that got me, honestly, because that's the safe one. That's the one I can actually eat without breaking out. And they were going through it like it was the free bowl at a bar. I brought it up to my manager, Rob. I kept it light. I said, hey, is there any policy on people taking food from other people's desks? Rob kind of chuckled and said, it's a snack. Come on, just share. It builds team culture. Build team culture on my dark chocolate that I buy with my money. I said, it's like $40 a month, Rob. He said, then maybe don't bring the fancy stuff in. So that weekend I went to the hardware store and I bought a little combination lock, the kind with the 4 dials and a hasp latch you can screw into a drawer. I watched a YouTube video. I installed it myself Sunday night at my desk, and Monday morning I set my snacks up like normal and clicked it shut. The reaction was instant, like they'd been waiting. Dana saw it around 9 a.m. and said, are you serious right now? I said, about what? She said, you locked your snacks? That's so passive aggressive. I said there was nothing passive about it. It was very aggressive. It was a padlock. By lunch, 3 different people had commented. Marcus said, that's kind of petty, no offense. I said, none taken. A woman from accounting I'd never spoken to walked past and said, somebody's territorial. I have no idea how she even knew. And then Rob came over. He had his little concerned manager face on. He said, hey, so I'm getting some feedback that the lock is creating tension. I said, feedback from who? The people who were eating my food? He said the optics weren't great, that it looked unfriendly, and that maybe I could take it off and we could handle it as a team. I said, Rob, 2 weeks ago you told me to just share. When I said it was costing me money, you told me to stop bringing nice things. So I stopped bringing nice things and I locked up the cheap things too. What exactly do you want me to change? He didn't have an answer. He said he'd think about it and walked back to his office. So the lock stayed. And here's the part that actually made my week. Dana, who started all of this, went and bought her own snacks. Which great, that's the whole point. Except she left them out on her desk, the way I used to. And by Wednesday she came to me practically vibrating and she said, someone's been eating my stuff. Did you take my crackers? I looked at her. I looked at my drawer with the little lock on it. I looked back at her. I said, you know they sell these at the hardware store. Like $8. She hasn't spoken to me since Wednesday, and my trail mix has lasted 6 days.